What's going on, everybody? JT here, C Will, Crypto for Change. This is episode 82 of The Next Block, and the crypto markets seem to be rip-roaring back. I mean, we've got Bitcoin back at about 36.5K rather, Ethereum over 2K, XRP at almost 65 cents. We've even got Algorand. What's Algorand at right now? Like 13 and change?
I think
It's
13.
it did flash crash down to like 10.8, but I think it came back up to like 11 or 12 so far.
CoinMarketCap, we've got 12 cents, so it must have
Yeah.
came down a little bit. We're
That's
still
12
sitting
cents.
at the 50 mark range, so the 50 market cap on CoinMarketCap right here. But otherwise, the 7-day for a lot of these tokens look really good. Algorand, of course, is lagging. Our 7 days about 9%, but you've got Immutable X at 25%, eGold at 25%, Thorchain at 37% over the last 7 days. You've got what else? We've got 13% for Arbitrum, 10% for whatever Mantle is. I've never even heard of this token, to
Wow,
be honest.
Mantle, huh?
It's in 41.
I think it's in
That's
Cosmos ecosystem.
interesting. We'll have to look into that. We've got Caspa. I haven't heard of that.
Caspa's been running a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 34 right now. It's been up 60% in the last 7 days, 26%, 27% for Kronos, the CRO crypto.com coin. Let's see. What else do we've got that's going pretty
Monero's still
good?
trading like a stable coin, staying right at like 25.
Yeah, Monero. I actually got a notice while everything was going up. I got a notice from KuCoin actually that Monero is down like 4%. I was like, what's going on there? We got Matic at 24% over the last 7
Chainlink,
days,
okay.
32% for Chainlink.
Yeah, it was up to like 16 or
for
$17,
Cardano.
I think.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we
actually,
just had Bitcoin ran all the way up, I think, and touched 38K. As you can see it kind of there on the bottom right, as you look over, you can see that wick up, especially with Ethereum. That's, I think, the biggest news we had that kind of made that jump was BlackRock saying that they're going to, apply for a spot ETH ETF, I think is what it is. And so that's what pumped Ethereum over 2K. Obviously got Bitcoin up to 38, but then we had a really quick, Bitcoin dropped right back down. A lot of shorts a lot of longs got wrecked, and obviously we saw the market go back, and the market giveth and the market taketh away, as they say. But it also saw that I made a buy on algo yesterday, so sorry everybody who was hoping that we were just going to go up only. We always the day after I buy gotta at least do a 5 to 10%
your fault,
drop.
huh?
It's just got to put some, it's got to put some butterflies in my stomach. That's all it is.
Right. And I want to announce, too, to everybody in the live chat, we're going to be giving away, I believe, 100 Coop, 30 Gora, I believe, and 30 M Algo. So definitely hit up the live chats. It's going to be real simple, nothing too crazy, but we're just going to be choosing the best comments or best comment. We haven't really decided if it's going to be one or multiple, probably just one, whether it's something funny, something informative, a topic, a guest suggestion, whatever it might be. We're going to pick the best one, and we'll send you some cool ASAs.
Yeah.
A question to y'all: are we back in the bull market? And for y'all in the audience as well, is the bull market on? What we think about that?
The bull market has been on since January. I mean, literally,
For Bitcoin,
when not even for, like, you honestly look at so many of the projects, like, they have been going up and to the right. It's just there has been a lot of I would say very heavily VC backed coins that have obviously been dumping and being dumped on because they're getting free. They're selling those things to go buy more Bitcoin. Like, that's just where we are, I feel like, in the cycle. But soon, Bitcoin maybe will start to top, right? Dominance is already starting to hit some upper bounds, maybe, and maybe we get a alt season. But I think that's kind of where we're at. I mean, we have to see what Bitcoin's going to do before we see really what alts are going to do.
Yeah, so I think Bitcoin's the best performing asset out of almost everything right now since January.
Yeah, probably. So, I mean, Bitcoin's been above its bull market support band. We've talked about it on this show since March of 2023, and it's holding strong. I mean, that bull market support band is at about $26,000. So, I mean, Bitcoin could come down significantly to cool off and still be in technically a bull market. I mean, if we look at Algo, though, it's a little bit of a different story. Algo isn't, I mean, by that metric alone, isn't in a bull market yet, which I think is a good metric to look at. Its bull market support band, or 50-week moving average in this case, is still just over 16 cents. I mean, Algo still has a little bit of ways to go. We've got about a 36% increase that we could go from here before we are at and testing that 50-week moving average.
You know,
So
if you look at those two charts, though, you know, and when crossing that moving average there, and you go back to the Bitcoin one, like right now, I think is looking at if you were to buy Bitcoin when it was at 15K to like that, you know, 18K right there. You see it right before it crossed over that, you know, that bull market support band. I think that's where we're at with Algorand. Obviously, as long as, you know, Bitcoin continues to trend up and crypto and volatile assets continue to trend, you know, up and to the right. I think that's where we're at. Obviously, you know, there's still going to be a lot that has to maybe play out, but that's where I see it right now. And that's why I made a big buy for Algo yesterday, because I do feel like before the end of this year, I could see Algorand back above in that 20 to 30 cent range, you know, and possibly looking to get back into that bull market rally.
yeah, I agree. Honestly, this right here is the total crypto market cap, and you can see the same thing here. I mean, the total crypto market is above its 50-week moving average. It's been in a technical bull market since late March. So yeah, I do think it's only a matter of time before some of the altcoins that have been lagging the market, like Algorand. I know they're not alone, but you know we do focus a lot on Algorand, so of course we're going to talk about them a little bit more. But they're definitely not alone lagging the market. I do think you're right; they're going to catch up.
Can you pull Solana?
Absolutely could.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, Cloudy brought up a question. Do you guys feel like you know, we're going to see 6 cents,
Ooh,
or the low
that's
is it
good.
in? And I would definitely say I feel like the low is in. You know, until we actually see, you know, if Bitcoin were to break, right, if it were to do something crazy, a flash crash down below that bull market band, and we were to start seeing some crazy bearish sentiment, then yes, I would
Yeah,
say going to 6 cents, 5 cents is back on the table. As
I
long
agree
as
with that.
Bitcoin, yeah, as long as Bitcoin stays in that band and stays in that trend, no, we're not going back lower. I would be shocked to see Algorand trade that bad against, you know, the rest of the market, because I feel like as Bitcoin rises, you know, tide's going to raise all ships. Some will run better than others, obviously, because some have, you know, maybe a
That's the way
newer,
it goes.
yeah,
Mhm.
maybe some are attached to AI, or some of them are attached to a different, you know, thing in the market that's popping off, maybe better than something else. But I ultimately believe Algorand's bottom is in, and I am hopeful that we will see it back above 20 to 30 cents before the end of this year. That's my mild prediction.
We got those tweets from Algorand Foundation? Because I think, you know, with the was it Masari crypto report is huge to see that the growth of Algorand's like wallets, developers, everything is popping right now. And I think it was 100,000 wallets got added within the last month. That's
Yeah,
that's
and it was like
big news.
Wow,
1.1 million wallets added within Q3. So
Yeah, that's like
it'd be
interesting.
amazing.
interesting to know where all those wallets, like who's creating all these wallets. Is it
I mean, I did
retail?
1,000 of them last night.
Right. That's the thing, is like, is it retail that's creating these wallets and just people brand new, or is it like
It's probably
institutions that
Fly
are
Bondi
using,
and
yeah,
I'm
that
sure it's
would
a
those.
be,
mix.
yeah.
I'll say a mix because, yeah, because it look like agro token, you know, they're raising funds. A lot of these bigger projects, I think, are ready to scale up the real world
Yeah,
asset
and
ones.
Agro Token actually just, you know, because it's some
Visa.
recent news, they just made the other bigger deal with Visa. So you have to think they're, you know, if they're going to start using maybe in being a bigger factor, and Visa's investing in that they're probably like, hey, we got to build the infrastructure, we got to get these wallets ready, we got to get all the accounts and everything ready and funded, so that when we onboard all these, you know, people in Latin America, you know, who are the farmers who are using that token and using that card, they have it ready. So I'm thinking of the Bank of Italy too. Like, I'm just
Yep.
ready for the, like, and that's why you
Banco.
said earlier, JT, it's like there are certain ones that have lagged, right? The
Yep.
bull run that we've seen, a lot of other ones. I really do believe that the things that are lagging are the real world utility tokens, like the ones that are actually, you know, right now currently can actually do things for the real world and change.
That's
I
what
think a lot.
Silvio said. The speculation is over last year.
Speculation will never be over. I think Silvio might be
Right.
wrong there. There's always going to be room for speculation and hype. I mean, even look at Solana. A lot of people are saying, you know, is the Solana pump all manufactured? Because you got FTX saying it's, or I think even Gary Gensler saying that they're going to try to reboot FTX, which blows my mind that they're
Yeah,
actually
that's crazy.
considering that. But it does make you think, because they have a ton of Solana tokens and other assets, you know, to dump, you know, pretty much. And so it is interesting to see Solana pumping the most when the people who are, trying to sell it are wanting to sell, and restarting that whole thing. I don't even know. We could obviously jump on that topic if you guys want to, but
Let's jump on it.
Yeah.
Would you use FTX, y'all? Would you use FTX if it came back?
No, I never even used it to begin with. Like,
what about you, JT?
Nah, definitely not. So, I mean, let's see if I can add this right now. My computer's going a little slow today, but this is an article from the Wall Street Journal as of yesterday. Former New York Stock Exchange president in talks to reboot FTX exchange. Tom Farley's new firm joins 2 other suitors in auction for bankrupt crypto exchange founded by Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, I suppose if they redid the whole thing, it could work, but I just feel like you'd really have to change everything, including
you
the
have to change the name,
and hope new people came in and didn't put it together, because I don't think anybody currently in the market. Well, I don't want to say that. There's definitely some gamblers that would, especially if they came out with a token or some sort of cool, like there's definitely some people that would.
They had the FTT token, So
I mean, it'd be
right
if
if they revived it, and it has been running on the hopes that that it might be rebooted, but
what ledger was that on?
That doesn't even necessarily mean that they'll reboot it with the FTT token. That might not even be part of the auction deal.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be something similar. Like, we saw the Celsius, that whole thing going, with them going bankrupt and everything. And now you have, I mean, it was even Steve Kokinos, and who else was the other investor that was trying to bid that one out? But they were under the new name Fahrenheit, I think is what they were actually going to try to call it, which is kind of funny. But, definitely would have to rebrand everything. And here's the thing. It's like, they would get business, right? Especially if they rebranded everything, there'd be so many people that would probably be buying, especially if, I mean, we know that FTX was close with the regulators, with Gary Gensler, with all these people, especially if this new exchange rebooted gets some favoritism by the regulators, and especially operating in the United States, and gets clearance to maybe list certain assets, whereas others are maybe not able to. I don't know. Or maybe there's just a bonus, right? If you're depositing $100 and buying crypto here, we'll give you $25 or $50 bonus. I mean, who knows? Like, they could do.
Okay, I'll put a little on there for that.
Right. But then
giant.
Then the people would know to like just straight move it off, right?
Take exactly. Get in, get the free bonus, and then hop right back out.
Yeah, look at this giant green daily candle for FTT token.
Oh wow,
that was today. Oh wow,
today?
Yeah, this is the last daily token. Yeah,
I mean, people
daily candle.
What is that? What measures that?
What
is
that
that?
Mean
Is like 100? Is that 100%?
I mean, from bottom to top, we could see right here. From about 100%, 96% bottom to top. I mean, it's come down a little. You can see that from the wick. I mean, if we zoom into the 4-hour, it's come off the top a little bit, but even still, ridiculous. It's had a pretty meteoric rise on this.
That's the reason why speculation will never die. Like, FTX has been dead for so long, people still speculating and gambling on FTT token, and that, it's the market, right? And we should. I mean, if it's there, why not?
In the industry, big time.
Can't knock it. That's a good trade for anyone that got in and got out. For anyone that might be riding the wave, it might not end so well. Who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong, but anybody that got in and got out definitely made a solid trade. You wanted to look at the Sol chart, though. I mean, we pulled it up for a second, but then we were chatting, so I pulled it back off. But let's see.
I know those guys like Raoul Pal and them love Solana.
Oh yeah, honestly, the big VCs are on Solana right now.
Looks really good. When we first pulled it up, I immediately said, "Wow," because it broke out of this pendant like pretty perfectly, and now it's testing this 100-week moving average. The 50 is down here in green. Okay. It crossed the 50. It got above the 50 back in July. So this lagged Bitcoin and the rest of the market by 3 to 4 months. But of course, it's ahead of other tokens like Algorand. But yeah, it's
Solana back in action.
It's looking pretty good, honestly.
It's top 10 crypto again as well.
Makes me a little nervous that I took some of my render profits because render moved over to Solana. But I was also nervous too with how the whole process of moving render from Ethereum to Solana, like it's a whole new token now on Solana. And I was holding mine in my wallet, and I didn't really want to go and learn and do all the actual minting of the new token. But obviously, if you're holding it on an exchange, they're going to end up doing it for you. But I was kind of wanting to wait until after all that's said and done to actually get the new render token. But hopefully that thing doesn't run too much, because I'll probably regret taking some of those profits.
What's it doing right now?
Yeah, I know, Cloudy, you're right. FTT tokens should not be tradable. Doesn't
Yeah.
make no sense if the exchange is gone.
I think that's where a lot of the space needs regulatory sense. Like,
Yeah.
if there is apparent scams and stuff like that, but maybe it's still tradable and still live because there's so many people who got hurt by it that maybe they're hoping that they'll still get some reward in that token once everything is said and done. I have no idea.
What
Well,
blockchain is that token on anyway?
That's what I was going to ask. I actually
Yeah.
don't
I thought it
know.
was Binance. It was either Binance Smart Chain or on ETH. I'm not sure though, honestly.
Let's see. I'm going to see if I can read it real quick in the.
Let us know if there's
On
any
the
hot
market
topics though that you guys in the chat want to hear. Obviously, there's been a lot that's gone on with
Ethereum,
Algorand.
Solana, and Binance.
Yeah,
You might have made a right decision so far by getting out of render, at least in the short term, because this is the last daily candle right here is pretty red.
Hey, David, with
yeah.
the nice
Well,
trade.
I will say that big wick just happened. Like, I think I sold right around 250, but that big wick is what just happened, and it fell all the way to like 198. And honestly, I was looking at the chart thinking like if I did want to jump
Oh,
in,
it came back up real quick though.
yeah, I would maybe have hopped in at like $2 because that's where it looked like it would touch that bull market support band. But that wick happened so fast. I don't think you'd have been able to unless you just had an open
limit order.
Yeah, limit order just randomly placed at $2. Like you wouldn't have, unless you're a day trader, you probably wouldn't have jumped in on that. But
I mean, if you, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea though to start putting limit orders close to the bull market support band, just for tokens that are above it, just in case they actually do come down and retest it. Because this bull market support band right now is at 158. I mean, that'd be a pretty good buy as long as it goes back up. I mean, even if it went back up to the levels it was at real quick and it just touched it for a wick, I mean, that's a 40% gain.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
And the thing is, it's right now it's tied a lot.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, I think it's going to correlate a lot to whatever Solana does. So if Solana
more than likely,
I think it's going to definitely follow in suit. I think if Solana dumps, it's going to be probably dumped twice as hard, which is, that's the reason. and honestly, I saw it as a, looking at the market, right? There's some certain ones that I've actually moved that money now into that are still below their bull market support bands, looking to challenge it. And so it's like, I feel like it's definitely a lot easier for them to double, triple than it is for Render to keep that fire going and double again. Because then if Render doubles again, it's going to be almost in like the top, like as far as market cap wise, it'll almost be the top 30, top 20.
Oh, wow.
And that's a pretty big move. Because
when
I started buying it, it was like almost outside of the top 100. So it's already almost in the top 50. I think with today's wick down, it kind of came back out of it, but it was right there beside Algorand for the past like week or two.
I'm curious about
again with
everyone's.
Render.
Oh, go for it.
Now, I'll say with Render again, like the purpose of it is, you say it's an AI token.
It's kind of like a cloud computing token. So like people who want to render their if they're working on a project and they like for your computer and you're trying to render whether it's a 3D graphic. I mean, obviously you could even look at like bigger things like movies and like augmented reality one day with Apple's glasses and all that stuff. But like if you're pretty much would be linking into that system, and instead of it using your own computer and it taking like a day or however long to render something, you could use their system. And if you use it, then you would be, that's where the render token comes into play. But it's definitely got a lot of connections. Like if you look at the team to, Apple and Disney and a lot of big corporations, I think that's where the hype is that there's a huge team that could definitely, make
I'd be
the right
worried about getting into another Disney thing. Back in like 2017, there was a ICO coin for like a coin called like Dragon Chain, which was supposed to be like Disney, which was pretty much supposed to be like Disney's chain. And I definitely got into that and rode it up and right back down. And it was one of those things.
That's why I moved it into things I'm more comfortable with. I mean, Algorand, even though it's, price action has not been the best, definitely during the bear market, it's like still utility wise, I can see use cases for it for many reasons in the future. And so, that's why I made that.
Yeah, the Algorand situation is, again, it's the best blockchain in terms of speed, scalability, and it is still hard to find something that's better.
Yeah, it's
as a
interesting that
user.
you said you saw Caspa running a lot. It says it's also solved the blockchain trilemma with their thing is called pure proof of work. It's funny because we talk about pure proof of stake. Caspa has been nothing but up and to the right, I think, since its launch, and it's up like 45,000% or something like that.
Oh
But
wow, I
I'll
it's
have
missed
to
that
look
one.
into it some more,
yeah,
but
Yeah,
it's one of
wow,
those ones that's like it's ran so much now. I definitely
probably
would
too
want to.
late.
Yeah, I want to wait for it to cool off, but it's who knows? It could be if the real
the whole
bull
market
market
might
does.
not cool off though. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
That is the thing. So, but Caspa is definitely one that I remember putting out a vote on our community thing for our channel, and a lot of people were bullish on it back then, and I think it's already doubled, if not more than that, since I put that post out. So, it's definitely been moving, up the ranks, and it'll be interesting to see a lot of these newer layer ones that are saying that they've solved the trilemma and they're doing all this, how they favor against some of the more, I guess, established ones that are still trying to build.
Yeah, you got the SUI blockchain. I see people talking about that one more. SUI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to know everybody in the audience's like price predictions for the end of the year. So, end of December, where do you think Bitcoin's going to be? Where do you think Ethereum's going to be? Where do you think Algo's going to be, or whatever else you're looking at? Give us some price predictions in those chats. I actually just found a really interesting piece of news that kind of goes along with our thesis that the bull market could very well be back. So, I'm going to pull this up right here. Have you guys heard of Standard Chartered Bank? It's a huge multinational bank headquartered out of the UK. But Standard Charter and SBI Holdings will invest $100 million into the crypto industry. Standard Charter's investment arm and Japanese conglomerate SBI Holdings have launched a joint venture to propel digital assets. So let's see right here. They're going to establish a $100 million joint venture in the Middle East to fund crypto startups around the world. We keep seeing this theme over and over again too. The Middle East seems to be becoming a haven for crypto, which is really interesting. The company will use the 100 million to pour into strategic and minority investments, whatever that means, in a range of areas within the crypto ecosystem, including DeFi,
DeFi.
market infrastructure, tools for risk and compliance, consumer payments, and the metaverse, according to Alex Manson, CEO of SC Ventures.
I'm gonna.
Have any of you heard of this yet? The
I've
news
not.
recently broke.
Yeah, I've not heard of that bank, but I will say I do
Oh, it's a huge.
believe. Yeah, I do believe that the big movement for the next bull market is like DeFi is going to explode. Like
Yep.
Yes.
we saw it prime, right? We saw what it could do, but it didn't really, the bull market didn't last long enough for it to really, reach its full potential. But that is why I'm still bullish on Tiny Man launching their token whenever it does come out. I'm sure that a lot of the people, I really hope that they reward the community who's added liquidity all the time and like airdrop Tiny to people, kind of like how AlgoFi did with Bank, for the people who support it. Like, I really hope it's a token that a lot of the Algorand community gets and people really make that come up, because decentralized exchange tokens and stuff, we saw Uniswap, how big it got. I think there's going to be a ton of other competitors that you're going to see just moon. That's all I'm
So
going to say.
you was talking about a DeFi summer then, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I can
gonna
see
be
that.
here. And that's the thing, is like, I think a lot of people are getting sidetracked with, just wanting to hold the chain token, or and thinking that that's going to be, the best things to buy. But honestly, there are so many dexes that have been built and so many exchanges that have been built in this bear market that I believe are going to run like wild. I've never seen a bull market,
Oh,
right?
some
Mhm.
That's
some
the
I
whole idea.
agree with you. And some quick stats on Standard Charter real quick. So Standard Charter, huge multinational bank with over 83,000 employees. It's listed as number 255 out of the global 2,000 best banks for Forbes. It's listed as one of the world's best banks. It's got about $29 billion of revenue, over 800 billion, almost $821 billion of assets currently under management, and almost $3 billion worth of profit. So definitely a pretty sizable bank. And if more and more banks like this decide to get into the crypto industry, I mean, I don't see how we don't eclipse the last period's all-time highs with at least most of the tokens. Of course, the crypto market keeps expanding in a way where there's maybe 20, 30, 40, 50,000 tokens at this point. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty along the way that die, but the good majority of the crypto ecosystem, I think, is going to fit to benefit over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think
So
so too. With what you said, like with the banks, and I think we talked about this last week. But over in Europe, they're definitely putting themselves in position to do these things.
I would be interested to know your all's thoughts. Could we see a potential blow off top even in 2023 for Bitcoin? I'm talking like new all-time highs for Bitcoin and Ethereum if, and this is a big if, I know still, but if we see those spot ETFs approved.
I think
We got 1
there's the
month.
I think there's a possibility for new all-time highs in that scenario, although no, not too certain, pretty unlikely, but I don't think it would be a blow off top. I think that would be a chain reaction. I still think 2024 would be a good year for crypto as well. So I think that would just jumpstart,
The
the
bull
early
market.
part of the bull market, but I don't think it would, create an early end to the bull market as well.
Yeah. Well, the window apparently is opened, like I think at today or tomorrow for the possibility for any revisions or them to pretty much give a decision on it, right? I think that's what we're looking at right now when it comes to the Bitcoin spot ETF. I know they just launched they applied for the Ethereum spot, but I believe we could have a decision coming up very soon. And it is interesting. There was a video I watched from Gary Gensler, which honestly, the very start, the first like 30 seconds to a minute of him speaking made it sound like they might approve something, because like it just in his verbiage, in his language, he was just talking about how sometimes we have to give the market what the market wants. And it's just like he was saying, he was kind of speaking that language. And it's interesting with obviously we've been waiting for this spot Bitcoin ETF to get approved, and it's interesting, it'll be interesting to know if they finally cave and we actually do get it in 2023, or even if it's January, the very beginning of 2024 is when we get it. I think that there's a very high possibility we could see, like JT said, that kickstart maybe of that bull market blow off top start happening, and really see some FOMO flowing into the crypto industry with some of these big banks jumping in. Obviously, the whole bear market, we've seen all the infrastructure being built from some of the biggest banks around the world, some of the biggest hedge funds, managers, fund managers of trillions of assets ready to move in.
Yeah, BlackRock is pushing right now, and they have all the money in the world. So once that does happen, as everybody pointing that, we gonna have 100,000 Bitcoin, I think, for sure.
Oh, I think 100,000 would be like, honestly, I think 100,000, like even if you look at the whole security model of just Bitcoin being profitable for miners, like Bitcoin has to get way higher than that. Honestly, I
True.
feel like
Yeah.
Bitcoin needs to
Few
go to
hundred.
like
Yeah.
150 to 200,000
Mhm.
to actually, and then maybe the bear market, it comes back down to 100K or, something like that. But I would be surprised if it doesn't even go higher.
So we've got the Valkyrie CIO suggesting that the SEC could approve their 19B4, which is the exchange rule changes for spot Bitcoin ETFs by the end of November, and then S1 registration statements early next year. So I do believe this is the 1-2 step that a lot of these have to go. So even if there's some approval in November, I don't see that being like the full green light. It does seem to be like a 1-2 step process. And even this guy says here, James Sefart, he says there are two paths that need to be completed for an ETF launch. Even if the 19B4 is approved, the S1 still need to sign off from Division of Corp. No sign that's done yet, possible and even likely that there could be weeks or even months between approval and launch, which I agree with that. But I
Yeah.
don't think that'll matter much, actually, because I think just based on approval, the
Yeah.
sentiment will change like a switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's already kind of happened based on the prospective approval, not even an approval yet. So I do think the launch might actually be the sell the news, honestly, in the short term.
That is looking like more and less what would happen. Like you get it approved and say like you have a 3-month window in between the approval and launch, and the markets would just run hot up into the launch. And then once it launches, I mean, wasn't the top of the last bull market for Bitcoin once they launched the futures for spot thing, right? Wasn't that right around there? And so
Yeah,
like
it was
it would.
basically the opposite of what everyone was hoping was going to happen. Everyone's like, "Oh, the spot Bitcoin, I mean, the futures Bitcoin ETF
Yeah.
is launching." Everyone was all gung ho about it, and pretty much the opposite happened. Granted, it is a different scenario because with a futures ETF, you have, you can manipulate the market a little bit more. You can short the market more with, whereas a spot, the argument with a spot Bitcoin ETF is a lot of these asset managers would actually have to be buying spot Bitcoin to
Yeah.
fill these orders, which could create a different type of buying pressure than the futures did. So, it could be an apple and oranges comparison as well.
Well, yeah, and then you got the opportunity for the workers to put it in their 401k, and that always helps the asset
Yeah.
because
That's the crazy thing is you still that's the one thing that still makes me realize how early we are. Is like the average person, if you were to go out and talk to them, they are not investing in crypto passively. Like, right? They're not like all of their money is still going into just the stock market. If you're in a 401k or bonds, whatever it is, it's those assets. Nothing from the corporate world is every 2 weeks, every paycheck being deducted and put into crypto. But except for the speculators, right? The us who are degens, who are more risk adverse and willing to put that money on the table and bet. But that still has to come, and it's going to come. And when it comes, like the people who have stacked those assets that end up being in those ETFs and in or exchange traded funds and in those groupings of whatever it is, you're going to be rewarded big time.
Hopefully.
Well, I do want want to answer 409's question. Do you think Sol's price is being manipulated? It seems fake. One, you can look at, I saw an article one time, it was like 70% of like most volume in crypto is done by bots, right? So I feel like that's the reason why when you see, Bitcoin take a dump, everything else, it's like they're all attached to the same strings, right? And so I think everything is manipulated to an extent, and that's the reason why you have to really,
Well, I'll say Bitcoin is basically I like to see Bitcoin as the S&P 500 for crypto. Ethereum is NASDAQ for crypto, or QQQ, and those two always lead the market essentially. So I think bots mixed with all of that information would make a lot of sense why they're following suit.
Now, I don't think it's manipulated.
Kind of like that, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's manipulated in the stance that people are it's about to rug, right? And they're running it up.
They getting their prices.
Yeah, I think they're the people who control the market makers, they know how to put the right articles out, put the right news out to get people excited to want to buy it. I definitely think there is more buying. Obviously, there's more buying pressure than selling pressure for something like Solana, but I do think at the end of the day, the chart you're seeing and the wicks you see like today are leverage.
Those are algo bots.
It's algorithmic bots that are trading way faster than the human can.
Well, what they do too, like in the stock market, you go look at short interest or long interest, and then the market makers do the opposite of it just to liquidate you, and then it shoots right back where it's at all in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's right. You literally had Algorand just do today. It was at 13 something cents, a 17%, 18% drop, and then automatically like a 10% bounce back. So over 10% bounce back. So that like right there, that's the reason why you get the craziness.
Yeah, the market also just overreacts usually in both directions. So when things are going up, there's too much hype and enthusiasm. Excuse me, geez, I can't speak today. and it creates sort of this rubber band effect where it just kind of happens in the same direction both ways. So I don't really know if that's anything manipulation or if that's just crypto. Crypto's been the most volatile market in the last basically since memory. Really, I don't even know any more volatile markets. Maybe the penny stock market, but.
Crypto crazy.
We'll take a quick ad break, but let's go ahead and say 409algo and Cloudy Vibes. You guys have been active in the chat. Go ahead and drop your wallet address, your algo wallet address, or your NF domain, and we will make sure that you guys get some of that crypto giveaway. And there's still, I think we have 3 different stashes of crypto, right, that we're giving away, or is it just 2?
Algorand, Coop, and Algo.
Okay, so so we'll obviously still be giving a little bit away after, but 409algo and Cloudy, thanks for being in the chat.
Everyday Algonaut. Coop is doing this show at the same time as us.
I know.
We've been doing this show at this time for every week for
remember,
for quite some time. So
in the US, our time has changed also. So I'll note that. But Coop is definitely swagger jacking right now. Shout out to Coop.
Yeah, what do you think of Coop? All right, we're going to take a quick ad break. We'll talk about a couple things when we get back. We'll see you in a sec. All right, what's going on, everybody? So Messina One's doing a little extra special thing for the festive season. Check out this little flyer that we have over our screen real quick, and definitely head on over to Algo Foundry or Messina One. Check out what they got going. They've got a lot of good stuff going over there. And yeah, happy to be back. Hope you enjoyed the ad break. We see your comments. We're loving it. We appreciate everyone that decided to come to our show, even though Coop is having a show at the same time. And we do realize that our time changed and his didn't yet.
No,
So
no. Coop, I'm on the West Coast. Like we
oh, you're on the
changed.
West
He
Coast.
actually just
Oh,
he
It's
did
only
mention when he
Arizona and
Yeah.
Hawaii. They don't
really?
change. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
No,
He
the
did
West
mention that he
changed.
woke up
I
late.
didn't realize you were on the same as Cali.
Yeah. I'm only a few hours away from Cali.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
did
this
say that
is
he started his or he woke up late, and then that's why he started his show
it
late. I was going
happens.
to give him
No,
hell
no
on it,
hate,
but
no hate.
Yeah. And was it cloudy? You got to get you an NFD. Sorry,
Yeah,
you got to get your
oh,
NFD.
let me put that off real quick. Yeah, get yourself a non-fungible domain. Check out the link in the video descriptions. You can do that right now if you wanted. There's a link to nf.domains down in our video description. Shout out to them.
I
But yeah,
guarantee
definitely
you,
go get
Cloudy
that.
Vibes is probably still available. You could check that out. What
Yeah,
about
probably.
let's talk about some rumors, right? We got the rumors that Elon Musk
Do we need
is.
to put our tinfoil hats on again?
Yeah, definitely got to put our tinfoil hats on if we're saying Algorand's probably going to be chosen for it. But obviously,
Don't
Elon
use
Musk has
Solana.
been saying that they're going to payment rails, right? Trying to make X a more crypto first platform, and so. And I think he already ruled out or said that it wouldn't be Doge, right? I think I'm remembering that correctly
Yeah,
in the
he did
article.
say that. No Doge or Bitcoin.
Yeah, no Doge or Bitcoin. So what are we thinking here? I mean, what are
Okay.
your thoughts? Is he going to create his own new token, call it X or something crazy? I mean, is he going to use another system, a popular layer one?
I'll tell you what I think right now. He's gonna use at least 3 blockchains.
Okay.
One of them had to be an EVM. Then it's going to be a derivative of an EVM, and then that's where I think there's a possibility of like an Algorand or an H-bar type of rando blockchain. But I definitely think he has to go multiple chains based on what everyone else is doing, so
Yeah.
we can just all be able to send what we need to send. But I think
Yeah.
Polygon, I would throw that in there too.
It definitely does make a lot of sense that it wouldn't be one, right, that wins or that's just used, but something that there's a lot, multiple different chains that are used. What are your thoughts, JT?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go in the future. I mean, here's the thing: it depends on what you're asking. If you're asking for just the payment rails themselves might be on one chain, just like how there's applications now that are cross-chain, but they all settle on one chain. Some choose
What do you think
Algorand
that one chain
for their
would be?
settlement. I'm not really sure. Honestly, it could be Algorand, could be Solana, could be something else, could be an L2 if we're being real, because a lot of those like
What
Polygon
about
gets
Base?
that love. It could be Base, but I don't think so. I don't think it would be Base for for whatever reason. I don't think it would be Base. But that being said, I do think it's only a matter of time before Twitter just incorporates all cryptos anyway. Maybe not as like the settlement layer, but for that exact reason. I mean, if people want to tip in Ethereum or Algorand or whatever it is, or because now there's subscriptions on Twitter. If you want to subscribe to somebody in whatever crypto you hold, I mean, I feel like that would make sense. Even if they had like some sort of exchange on the back end where they were actually just swapping that token to whatever they were actually paying the subscribers. So it would just on your end, the user interface, it looked like you were paying with your token, but really in the back end, it got swapped to USDC. I see that as probably the way it's going to go, where it kind of incorporates and allows for everything.
And if y'all want to try out how to tip, is TheNextBlock.algo, right? If y'all want to test that out, all the Algorand assets, we will gladly accept. Appreciate y'all.
I would say from my thoughts on what Musk might do, just because who Musk is, I feel like something new is coming that he would create, or that maybe it could be one of these newer chains like a Caspa, right, or something that's just brand spanking new, that has never seen a bull market, that has some crazy good tech that maybe is flying under the radar. I feel like it's either gonna be that or something totally, new as far as token, right? I mean, blockchain, like chain wise, I think you're gonna be on Ethereum, gonna be on, like you said, Sewell, some of the main ones. But I'm thinking token wise, I think it could definitely be, something brand new that he creates, that is created, that
X token or something.
yeah, something that is,
Gotta buy it with cash.
right, something that can also be branded with whatever maybe X is going to become. It's so funny. I still, whenever I log into Twitter or whatever, I still type in Twitter, and that's what brings it up on my computer. And like just like we saw back in like 2011 when he bought slipped my mind, but he pretty much what he turned Venmo
PayPal?
into, or PayPal into. Yeah, he had an X then, and then he changed the name and everything. I feel like what you're going to see is X, right, is going to get its new name or its new actual identity. And I think this new token or whatever, these payment rails and everything that is going to be created with it is going to be branded and go along right with it. That's what I would assume. It sounds like the best business idea too.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if he spun up his own thing. That wouldn't shock me at all.
He definitely got the
It's
money.
funny you say that because I actually do X now. I type X to get to
wow.
the website.
I still call it Twitter.
Only because it comes up immediately. If I type X, because I've been to the site so many times, it auto fills the rest of it. If I type T, there's other websites that I've done, so it's not like the first one I have to scroll down. So just for efficiency, I hit X and then enter.
That's funny.
Pretty much.
I think I only have to use. Let me see. I think I only have to hit. Yeah, T.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trading View is the first thing that pops up for me when I hit T. So.
My Trading View, I never close the chart. So
you do a lot of TA, so that would make sense.
I close it because it takes up a lot of energy when I'm doing live. So now, I closed it now. So that way my computer doesn't accidentally freeze or something like that.
Everyday Algonaut too made a good comment here. Said Solana looked like Elon started to buy, but I hope he will do the research and will find that the chain or find the chain that is never down.
He doesn't have to do too much research, in my opinion, because his brother
right?
is very much so aware of Algorand and is invested in Dequency, who is one of the best and kind of underdog projects on Algorand, syncing music licensing on chain. What is it? Kimball. Yeah, Kimball Musk is one of the key investors into that project. So he's definitely aware of Algorand. There's no doubt in my mind.
I would for sure. But that's the whole thing as well, as like how much of real world utility projects, how much weight do they put on blockchains that have went down? I mean, let's be honest, Solana is technically still in beta, right? It's still testing. Yeah. It's not even, on its, I mean, yes, it is mainnet. Like I'm not gonna say it's not, that, but there's still a lot of kinks that they're trying to figure out to actually make sure that system stays upright, and it's still very centralized for that purpose. And then you have things like Base we were talking about earlier. It went down like within its first month, right, and had outages. Like there's been so many chains that have either forked, went down. It is interesting that Algorand and a few others being only ones that have never went down or had any hiccup. It'll be interesting to see if that narrative ever gets pushed. Maybe that is maybe that will be the reason why Algorand does, propel itself into the top 10 and really starts to contend, and maybe why it gets a lot of hate from a lot of the other, blockchains. I mean, we've definitely seen targeted FUD.
I would hate on it if I was trying to compete. I'd be like, damn, like,
right?
So yeah,
they don't
I understand.
Fork, they don't go down. It's not slow. There's no congestion for fees. Like
we said, the only problem that we all hear is it's harder to develop on. John and the rest of the team is trying to change that, and I feel like once that happens, it's game over.
I feel like it's already happening. I mean, AlgoKit is now on the second 2 point something at this point.
2.0
introducing Python, and that's only going to improve. So I think Algorand's made extreme advancements in ease of development, and I think that's only going to continue. So yeah, you're absolutely right there. I think that's only been, aside from the relay node criticism, which is also being fixed, I don't really see what's going to hold Algorand back in the future, because they're correcting all of the issues that people have pointed out.
Can you grab 409's latest comment
about Prim?
Yeah. That's a good one though, about controlling the system, right? And this is a part of what I hear about Elon Musk too when I do some research, is that he's like kind of like Trump. He's a wild card and you don't know what's going to happen, right? And I feel Algorand is a similar type of blockchain. It is harder to control from my understanding. So yeah, that makes sense.
Keep us posted, Ludo. Everyday Algonaut. They're launching a gold tokenization project with provable real-world reserves for the buildable hackathon, which is definitely pretty cool. I'm curious, what's the difference about that
Between
and
meld.
the meld gold token? Maybe it might be the custody or whoever controls the gold itself. But curious to learn more about that. Maybe you can fill us in the chat. But yeah, that's definitely cool. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I love the gold. I got a little
Absolutely.
Go USD gold pool running on Pact, and I'm very excited about that one. Cause
It would
gold,
actually be cool to have two different gold tokens that are both reliable on chain,
yes,
provide liquidity to both of them, have no impermanent loss because
mm,
technically they should be trading at relatively the same amount, depending on maybe one will trade at a premium depending on how quick you can redeem it or something.
mhm.
But overall, the impermanent loss there should be low, and it'd be a great way to get that exposure. So yeah,
Hey,
keep us posted.
gold number one asset in the world still for 1,000 years straight.
Yeah, it's
It's
definitely
so funny.
holding on.
We don't have to go off this tangent on a long thing, but growing up in the my upbringing was in the church, right? So I read the Bible a lot, and it's interesting. The one thing that I've always read whenever going through the Book of Revelation pretty much talks about how gold and silver are going to go away. I won't be the mediums of exchange, and so I know that's been a long, it's something interesting. Maybe is Bitcoin supposed to be the reason why like physical gold and silver and stuff actually go away, or is the idea that gold and silver value will that prophecy, I guess you could say, ever come to fruition? But gold obviously is king, but
Gold is
who
king.
knows? Who
No,
knows?
because if you think about it, I was raised pretty much in the church kind of too, but like gold ain't going nowhere. It's still here. So I wear it, and it's like
It definitely has utility, that's
it
for
does.
sure.
They use it in
Right.
electronics and building.
Yeah.
It's a lot more use case that gold and silver has, even beyond just being money.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely foresee a future where it's not as valuable in a currency sense or a
we
form
need
of
to
a
go
medium of
back because
exchange.
paper
Uh,
sucks. Go ahead.
I mean, they're eliminating paper anyway, so
I was about to say, I don't really want to go back to where I'm having to carry all my money around, and especially gold, because that gets heavy as all
Tokenized
get
gold. That's
out.
where we're trying to
But
go.
tokenized gold, I could definitely get down with that.
yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's the thing. The argument for the gold standard was that it was too difficult to carry around all this gold, so you created
Mhm.
paper receipts that basically used to be backed 1-to-1 by gold, and then eventually, that got out of
1971.
Yep.
hand. But really, today's technology could at least put the argument to a test, because there's economists on both sides of the fence that say the gold standard is the way to go, and then there's others that say the gold standard is not the way to go. But we actually have the technology to put that to the test now. So
Well, what we
it'd be
see,
curious to see if there was like a little nation or something that created a gold standard based on tokenized gold, because the technology is there, and seeing if it see if it worked.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense because if you back money with something like gold, then you can't scam everybody, and that's why they took the gold away so they can scam us and tax us to death at least in the United States and
But
the rest.
even then, it comes down to the point of, if we're all holding tokenized gold, who's holding the real gold? Because then we
Right.
could still be scammed and then be
And I
like,
do think there is some validity to
That's very true.
an argument that a currency based on a deflationary asset could be harmful to a growth economy, because people
yeah.
would be less likely to spend a money that they know will be worth more in a year or two than the other way around. So then you'd have a slowdown in spending. So I
Yeah.
I
could see
think we
that.
need to slow down.
It's like if you
What are we
literally
buying here?
knew, well, it's like if
Right.
you
No, it could
literally
be
knew that the price of
beneficial, but then
Bitcoin
you
was going to
have
keep going up. Like you would
you wouldn't
never
want to
spend
spend
it.
it.
You wouldn't.
Right.
You would just literally
And
hold it.
that's one of the arguments against a, not necessarily gold standard per se, but just a economy based on a deflationary currency. So that's why I said, because I don't know who's right. I mean, at the end of the day, economists are basically like economic philosophers. It's really hard to put this to the test. It's really hard to see who's actually right. But we have the technology now where technically, I mean, it'd be difficult for obviously a big nation like the United States to do it, but a smaller nation could experiment with blockchain and gold standard and things like that and see what
I think
works.
that's what El Salvador is doing with Bitcoin, and
Yep.
obviously
True,
Argentina
but
Great.
that's just
maybe.
that's
It is just
Bitcoin, and I think
Bitcoin, but
that's difficult. But actual tokenized gold, I think it would be a really interesting test to see a country do that.
yeah. I want to highlight Everyday Algonaut's last comment. Just still one more week until the hackathon deadline, which is the buildable for Algorand. They're saying they also plan to do a fiat on ramp to gold token, but for the record, they're planning to launch in the EU, according to Mika, and will do physical delivery only. My question to you, Everyday Algonaut, is actually, do you know of any other solid projects maybe in the hackathon that are building on Algorand that you're excited about? Maybe you've bumped elbows with some of the other developers who are submitting proposals for that hackathon. Is there any alpha maybe that you have that we wouldn't know? And obviously, that's still, I think, the hope for Algorand to really make that bull market and really see where it goes is what's going to come out of this buildable hackathon that's about to close up, or at least the entry hack deadline.
Yeah, definitely would be really interesting to know. And I'm curious on what kind of projects are going to pop out of it, honestly, because we had Stacy on maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago now talking about it, and how she, we've made a mention now that they want to have multiple projects come out of it that are similar to not necessarily the DeFi end of it like folks, but just like juggernauts like that in and of itself in their own industry. It doesn't necessarily have to be DeFi, but I think that would be great to see the fruition of this hackathon. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. Keep us posted, Ludo, on your project. We're going to keep our eyes peeled for that. Do we want to wrap up today's show or at the top of the hour?
Yeah. Okay. Before we do that, any other tokens y'all looking at, besides what we talked about today?
Oh, and on that news, I do want to say, me and see what we did. We talked about it yesterday. We are going to start recording and dropping a portfolio update, that we're going to do here on the show. So every week we're going to be dropping a portfolio tracker that, we're going to be buying some certain cryptos during this next bull market. So we're going to be dropping that probably next Wednesday or after next Wednesday. So be watching for those videos and play along. So if there's any cryptos that you think we should be adding to this portfolio for the next bull market, be sure to let us know in those comments and even on Twitter and things like that. But let's talk about some other cryptos that we're watching. Siwo, you want to go first?
I'm watching when you tell me. So I'm waiting for
yeah, you seem to be the most in tune lately.
Yes, I'm in tune with 4 cryptos only right now. So
right. I mean, I will keep saying, and shout out to Kimchi. He's the guy who kind of brought me on to one of the or two of these. One of them is that I'll go back. One of them that I've been buying for a while that I haven't really bought any as of late, but obviously it's one that I'm going to hold for the next bull market. And I'm earning passively, right? I've got it all staked. I think I actually earned like 20-something% on my USDC and like 8% on the stake token itself, but it's Glimmer, and that's on the Moonbeam system protocol. I think JT's got to figure out his camera here real quick, but so Glimmer is one of them that I've held for a while staking. And I think that actually has some, and it just started building on base, right? I think Coinbase, like I said, the DeFi, I think we're going to have a DeFi summer really going to explode. So I'm looking at those decentralized finance moves. Moonbeam is one of them, Glimmer token. And then the other two are on Optimism and Base as well, which is Velo or Velodrome Finance, that's on Optimism, and Aerodrome Finance. They both have the same code base, the same model, right? But one's on Optimism, one's on Base. You can actually get both of them in the Coinbase wallet. Not financial advice on going and buying them, but they both are the leading dexes on Optimism and Base. And I think both of them are in the top 10 as far as TVL. On DeFi Llama. So those are some of the ones, small, like I said, I think Aerodrome is like a, very, very, very small market cap. So is Velodrome. As far as big ones go, I'm still holding Monero. I think Monero is easy. John Woods, like if you're bullish on Algorand because of John Woods, he's also, every time I talk to him, the only other crypto he ever talks about is Monero. And so I think just like him, I think the bottom line for Monero in the next bull market is going to be $1,000 at least. So I'm stacking some Monero. I like it. I love the privacy. I think it does what it says it's going to do. And then really outside of that, it's just, kind of the ones that everybody's aware of. I mean, I got some Link, I got some Algo. Obviously I made a big buy on Algo yesterday. I think it's got some, the next few months are going to be bullish for it. But other than that, there's no real sleepers. I mean, obviously within the Algorand ecosystem, still holding my Coop, still holding Pepe, still holding, I've got Gora, right. And things like that. So I think there are some plays within the Algorand ecosystem. It's definitely, more speculative, I think, because, we have to see Algorand get that adoption and really get the
Yes.
hype before a lot of these ASAs are going to take off. But we were there in the last bull market. We saw what can happen with things like Yieldly, Opulus.
Yeah,
and a
let
lot of
me
the
comment. Cloudy too. I used to cover a lot of ASAs, but yes, like after that Smile Coin incident and a few other things, I slowed down. Yes, there we go, Smile Coin. I
Yeah.
slowed down a little bit, but yes, I'll definitely start talking about ASAs more. I think now is about that time. Like Crypto with Changes said, algo has to go first, and then everything else will follow.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing as well. And in
Yeah.
terms of the next block, yeah, we're trying to build our bags up. Y'all help us out, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no hiding what the next block's holding. It's on TheNextBlock.algo if
Go check
if
that
you're
out.
curious. For me, honestly, I'll do the quick wrap up there. Most of the tokens I'm keeping an eye on are still in the Algorand ecosystem. Of course, outside of that, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a little bit of Solana I might grab. I haven't determined yet. I did just create an automatic recurring buy for Algorand. I think it's that time to start doing that again. It was probably that time, maybe like a month or two ago, for being real, but just kicked that back on again. And then I'm honestly watching Gora. So Gora is, of course, an ASA in the Algorand ecosystem. They're a great sponsor of this show as well. And Opulus. I mean, believe it or not, even though I know some people that have been following the show for a while know that we've had our back and forth with Lee, but I still think
Lee,
Opulus
crazy.
could be a good hold for the bull market. So definitely got my eyes on that as well. And to Bankon's point, I actually don't think I use my NFD anymore, so you can't track it on there. And that's nothing against my NFD. It's just because I'm late. I was late to the party when the rekeying happened, and I moved all of my assets, but I didn't rekey the wallet in time before I moved the non-fungible domain. So I actually have to get a new one. So don't send anything to JT Invest .algo.
Yeah, you won't find mine either. Mine's is mostly been built for NFTs and whatnot,
Right.
and doing stuff. So I got like probably too many wallets.
Same.
Yeah.
I will say we'll go ahead and throw the remaining giveaway to Everyday Algonaut. He was active in the second half of that. So if you're still here, Everyday Algonaut, we might actually end up closing the stream, but send us a DM with your wallet address and we will drop some crypto to you. And we'll also make a tweet just in case you're already off the stream.
Oh, that's too funny.
But
all right.
The countdown has begun for the bull market, guys. 12.
I think it's
Let's get it.
I think we might be in it. I think we might be in it. Next week we have Gary Maloof and John Woods coming on the show. So we've got the CTO of both Algorand Inc. and Algorand Foundation.
Algorand Technologies.
Yeah, I was about to
Algorand
say
Technologies. I gotta correct myself there. And then the week after that's Thanksgiving. We'll be taking that day off, so we'll be spending that with our families. I hope you guys do as well. And then the following week, when we come back after Thanksgiving, we've got Jerry Chu from Lofty AI. Definitely some good shows coming up, as well as this coming Sunday, we've got episode 2 of Markets Unboxed with myself and Ed Lashinsky, the CEO of Algorand Finance. We'll be unboxing the markets. A lot to talk about there, especially now that we seem to be back in a crypto bull market.
We back.
Like and subscribe to the channel as we continue on. We're going to be doing more and more giveaways to show our appreciation of everyone that shows up day after day. And we hope to catch you in the next episode.
See you, everybody.
Peace.